This is Remembering Smallville,
a Smallville rewatch podcast.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Kim.
And I'm Brett.
Season 1, Episode 9, Rogue.
In this episode, Clark's secret identity is jeopardized when a corrupt policeman, Sam Phelan, witnesses Clark using his superhuman powers and coerces him into joining forces.
Hey guys, how you been?
Good.
Oh, good, man. Just relaxed, hanging out.
Love it.
In this episode, we get a museum. So, what's your guys' favorite museum?
So it's been a long time since I've been there, but the Smithsonian's in Washington, D.C., absolutely fantastic. Don't know if you've been. It's worth going. Incredible museums. The Aerospace Museum is fantastic. Some art ones if you're really into art. Not really my scene, but the Holocaust Museum was really awesome there too.
I am not well traveled, so in Salt Lake City we have the Museum of Natural History, and
With
I love
dinosaurs.
that museum.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I mean we are a pretty big dinosaur state, I guess.
We have the Utah Raptor.
Yeah,
That's
we have the Utah Raptor. So yeah, that is my favorite museum. I also loved, there's a little place here in Salt Lake too called the Children's Museum. Loved that as a kid. There's a lot of like tactile things you could play with and interact with. And there was an aerospace part where you could actually sit in a replica of a space shuttle and flip all the switches. As a kid, I would die for that. Like, that's the first place I would beeline for. I just love space stuff. When we went to Epcot and we rode that one where you're going to Mars and you have to flip all those switches and do all those buttons, that was my favorite ride at all of Epcot. It was so much fun. So that kind of stuff, if that's at a museum, I'm all for it.
We need to take you to like a space museum. You'd like that.
Oh, yeah.
It would bring me joy. Nicole hates space and I love space.
I'll never go to space. But as far as museums go, I love like a natural history. I'm not in for the art. We went to MoMA once in New York and I thought, well, I'll never get that time of my life back. There was a whole room with nothing in it and the lights would turn off and then they turned back on. And then there was a plaque by one of the entrances that said lights on for 5 seconds, lights off for 5 seconds. And I thought,
art.
I hate this place.
I hate modern art.
Terrible. What about you, Kim?
Same thing as Brett.
Okay.
Funny thing is we didn't go together. We went growing up with our families, and the Smithsonian museums, right? Mm-hmm. Amazing. I was only 10 and they're still my favorite. Love them so much.
Follow our podcast so we can afford to go on vacation so we can go to cool museums. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Interact with us on social media. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. Follow us, like it, comment, interact, share, post, do all the things, or else no one will know about this cool, awesome podcast that you like.
And no one will know about our desires to travel to museums. And speaking of museums, let's segue into a museum right at the beginning of this episode, in Metropolis again.
Yes, if you notice in the very back, it says Luther Hall Collection Charity Gala. Mm-hmm. So this is the Luther Hall. They have paid for this wing of the museum to have their name. And
the very first thing we see Lex and Clark, and they're looking at this chest plate of Alexander the Great. And I loved it because it's Superman's colors and has an S on the chest,
absolutely.
But it's a snake.
So good.
And Lex would know exactly who that breastplate belongs to, and it would be Alexander the Great. You know,
if Lex had a kid, his kid's name would be Alexander, 100%.
Yeah. Oh, well, isn't his name Alexander?
Yes.
Is it?
Lex Alexander.
Yeah. His name is Alexander.
Oh my gosh. I think I knew that,
blown.
but I forgot because I'm only in season 1 brain right now.
Love it.
Well, look, no necklace on Lana. This is
It
like
doesn't
the fourth
go.
episode.
It doesn't go with her dress.
Yeah.
And Clark is still wearing blue and red.
Yes,
Absolutely.
And it looks so good.
This is Lex's charity event, or Luther Corpse at least. And
He handles the guest list.
And he has invited Clark, not his parents. They can just stay home and knit. He's invited Whitney and Lana.
Matchmaker, 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 Lex.
That's true.
So true. And Lex is in a purple tie.
Oh, he loves purple. Mm-hmm. And Whitney's bored. Clark feels underdressed and out of place.
And he's getting friend zoned again.
Lana has a boyfriend, so her friend zoning Clark is the right decision.
It is the right decision.
You don't do that if you're dating someone.
But as someone watching the show, you're kind of over it. You're let Whitney get out of here. Understandably, Clark needs some air. He needs to go take a breather.
We meet Victoria Hardwick.
Her last name would be Hardwick. That's such a bougie last name.
She's the girl equivalent
Wick.
to Lex with a different fancy family, with a different fancy company.
It's true, but if you've ever known a really rich person with the last name of Wick, it is part
Something
of their last
Wick.
name. That's such a, I don't know, it's just
It's
such a
it
bougie
is.
last name.
Yes.
to me.
Montgomery also.
So Clark steps outside, and then we fast forward and we get to meet a cop that's beating the crap out of somebody, threatening them or trying to blackmail them into getting some files from internal affairs.
Some random in the bushes fight outside of the museum.
Because that's where they meet. It's secret.
That's where you do things, right next to a major road behind the bushes. Just beat somebody up.
And that's where I beat people up.
Sure.
Sure.
I think Clark kind of has some, because he's like, ugh, Metropolis.
Yeah.
I think you have those like big city dreams, like those, New York, so elegant. But when you get there, you're like, oh, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
It's dirty. There's crime. It's not what it's cracked up to be. And I think he kind of, for a moment, misses that small town life.
Yes.
But he gets to jump in right away and save the day.
Yeah, it's the classic bus driver having a heart attack
A
scenario.
big, crazy heart attack.
Yeah.
The way he stops this bus, man,
It's
just
crazy.
yeah, I don't understand what is. I mean, I get it. He
It's
probably has
visually
never stopped a
appealing.
bus before.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think this is his first
if
one.
I'm going to nitpick here, one, it's a bus. He doesn't know who's on there. You
Right.
could have injured so many people
Yeah.
that way rather than using the same super speed to get
to go
dog and
behind
man
it
out
and
of
just
there.
pull, or just go behind
That's
it and pull
true.
it to a stop.
He could have just gotten them out of the way.
Gotten dog and
That's
man
so
out
true.
of the
Just-
way,
Yeah, or run in the bus and pull people
Then
out
we
of the
wouldn't
bus.
get the special effect of him stopping the bus,
Which
with
was
his
awesome.
body.
Which what with an explosion?
And this shows up in as you see the show changes the intros. This particular little snippet is in future intros for a while.
It
It
is
shows
visually appealing.
that. Yeah, it really is.
But Clark is used to small town life where there aren't cameras everywhere or people everywhere.
or dirty
yeah.
cops.
Everywhere. So Clark thinks no one saw. He thinks he's safe and no one noticed and not to worry, Mom and Dad.
Which again, why not do a quick scan with the X-ray vision right before you leave or right before you save? Yeah, I don't know. Just
That is so true.
That's smart.
he just doesn't do that.
But what would he have done if someone had seen? He'd been like, it was just my shoulder pads and this jacket. They're strong. It's adrenaline.
I do love that he goes to talk to his parents, and one, he lifts up this generator
With one hand.
One hand.
Barely an inconvenience.
That generator will come back, don't worry. But he explains the situation to his parents, and his father's first question is not, are you okay?
Right.
Not anything, just, what if someone had seen you do it? At first, it seems like, do you care about this kid? Like, what's the deal? And it's actually because he cares about him so much that it's not, how is everyone else, anything. It's, did anyone see you do this?
And Clark just wants his parents to be proud of him.
It's concern first, then proud. So it's always like
Yeah.
a little tainted.
Yeah.
He does a good thing, but he like gets lectured for it. That's
Yeah.
annoying. We know that the dirty cop learns about Clark because he gets security footage of the event at the museum because he knows Clark came out of the museum and he
that's-
sees Lex interacting with the kid on the security camera or with the security photos at least. He goes to investigate.
So does he blackmail the security guard in order to
yes,
get...
clearly he's
Yeah.
just
Okay, I didn't understand that.
He blackmails everybody.
Yeah. That's why I was like,
he's
that's
the
nothing
blackmail
new.
queen. I mean, king.
Yeah, he's just anybody and everybody. So he gets these pictures and finds out, hey,
Okay.
that kid was with Lex. Lex must know who this is.
Yes. Okay, that makes so much sense.
And then when we get to the next scene with the castle, Miss Hardwick is trying to tempt Lex.
Plotting.
And
These
I said,
classy
I'd
ladies.
quit the family business for her, I guess. Like,
Why?
she's hot
But
and British.
He's already tasted her tea. He doesn't. She's British. They drink tea. I'm
Wow.
sure she's made him tea. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's already tasted the tea. He doesn't need to. He's not like it's a mystery. They've already done this.
That's true.
She's not like a new thing. I wrote whore. Because I think she's clearly flirting with him for
Her own
business.
gain. Yeah.
It'd be so dumb if it was like, we were great together once, I miss you, and then maybe next week after you've, lain with him, then go business. But don't go business right at the front.
Yes. Yes.
It's a bit
Maybe she's
icky.
overconfident in
It's
her
really
own-
icky. But the thing is, Lex is kind of into it because he's the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, deep down, he's fighting with this part of him that is the same as her. And she's not. She's all in on her darker part and darker side. And he's trying to resist, clearly.
Well, it's hard when they have the same daddy issues and the same business issues, and you can say, "I'll manipulate you, you manipulate me, we manipulate each other." And if we get a little,
hopefully we both end up on top.
And if we get a little hanky panky in between, all the better, right?
Yep.
In this next scene, we get another one of those times where the system punishes good journalists.
Except she has no real proof, and the principal has every right to say, "This is a student paper for student events."
Yeah,
Knock
but who
it
cares
off.
about student events? I'd be way more interested in seeing the other stories.
Look at how non-bouncy her hair is because she's sad.
Oh, I've never noticed that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, her hair does tell the mood. I think Principal Quan is in the right. I don't think him kicking her off immediately is the right call, but he's in the right to tell her,
Yeah.
evidence first, please, and also school paper first. So tell us about, like what's for lunch.
Right.
Yes.
And, well, and the way the conversation plays, though, it's as if this isn't the first time they've had a conversation.
I was just gonna
okay.
say that. Yeah.
I
I didn't.
suppose.
Okay,
Maybe
smart.
it's strike 10.
Could
Yeah.
be. But then Lana suddenly is there and is like, "I'll talk to the principal for you on your behalf."
And Chloe's like, what are you going to be able to do about
She's like,
it?
"I'm pretty. Don't worry, I got this." Okay. Then we're back at the beanery and there's a pinball machine. So quick pinball story.
Okay.
I've grown up playing pinball my whole life. My dad, we have 3 pinball machines in our basement. My dad does.
Oh.
So we've always played pinball. Super fun. Pinball's great. If you haven't played pinball, go play pinball. If you're looking for a cool place to play pinball, there's a place in Las Vegas right on the strip. It's a pinball museum that you play.
Speaking of museums,
Oh yeah.
Should have mentioned this
It's
one.
It's like a big open rectangle place, and the writing on the front of the building is giant, and it says pinball, and you pay quarters, and you can play old
pinball
pinball
games.
new ones. It's such a
Some
fun
of them
day.
in there are worth
my goodness.
tens and tens of thousands of dollars.
That's
Super
amazing.
fun. And they have like other games, racing games.
Yeah, there's
and
some other
kind of
arcade type of
arcade
stuff.
type games.
But it's mostly pinball machines.
It's almost all pinball though.
But her
It's
parents own
really fun.
3 pinball
Yeah.
machines, and they're all really, really cool.
So we love playing pinball.
Are you pretty good at pinball?
You have to learn the machine.
Yeah, each machine is
machine.
different.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to know like exactly when to hit it and to do the different things. Like they have an Addams Family one and a Spider-Man one,
And
which is like a
Twilight.
classic,
It's a classic,
Spider-Man
yeah.
one. It's a really old one.
Oh, cool.
It's really fun.
Yeah, so it's fun.
So pinball, it's fun. So if anybody needs something to do on the weekend and you happen to be in Las Vegas, pinball museum. Or if you've got $10,000 laying around, go buy a pinball machine.
And when the cop confronts Lex here and asks him about his friend that was with him and shows him the picture, I love that Lex protects Clark. It makes me really
Oh,
happy.
and you can tell there's clearly a history between these two.
yeah.
Lex hates this dude. You can tell immediately. He's not going to give him 1 ounce of information.
Which I
No,
love.
no.
Yeah.
When we get into the next scene in the barn, you know how the camera angle does that thing where you can tell that somebody is skulking and watching Clark? Mm-hmm. You know,
Because it like shifts.
it's just, yeah, it's kind of like the
Hello?
shaky cam, sort of. That's one of my favorite things about the scene. I was like, someone's skulking around.
Well, the cop is pretty smart. We know his name is Sam Phelan, so I'm just going to call him Phelan instead of saying dirty cop because I don't like that. He puts his Metropolis badge underneath the generator so that Clark sees it and knows immediately I'm a cop.
So gross.
But what's dumb, why Clark is a moron, is if somebody drops a generator on you, don't chuck the generator that your dad just probably fixed into the wall of your barn.
I know.
Maybe
Another
just-
broken thing they have to pay for.
Maybe just like lift it off of you and move it to the side.
yes.
You can still confront the baddie. You can still have this whole scene, but not ruin more farm equipment.
But
Please.
I'm a teenager and need to rage my emotions.
Oh, it bothers me so much.
This cop was totally okay with killing Clark on accident if he was wrong.
Right?
I know.
100%.
That's what
Yes.
that's what Martha says, doesn't she? Isn't she like,
Well, it's Jonathan. He goes to confront him in the coffee shop later, and he's like, well, we both know it wasn't going to hurt him.
yes. And I was like, ew.
What if you were wrong? What if it was a one-time thing? What if Clark has to juice up first and he hadn't done it or something, you know? Like,
Seriously.
there's no way of knowing it's a consistent thing when he's just willing to risk that.
Because he would have said, well, it looks like an accident. But how would he have gotten his badge back? If a person was crushed under
I
it.
tried to help get him out.
I think Phelan
guess.
is threatening someone he doesn't know, and he knows that Clark saves people, right? The bus driver. Why would you blackmail someone that powerful?
He wants to use his power for his own ends. Duh.
Yeah, but that person could snap you in half
Yeah,
right there.
that's
You
what I
don't
was
know this
thinking.
person.
I think he thinks he's a teenager. I'm manipulative. He's gullible. I can do this.
sure.
I can handle it. And he does. He kind of does manipulate Clark.
Oh, he absolutely does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Clark tells his parents in the next scene about Phelan. If this were written in 2024, I don't think they would have allowed the opportunity for drama of Clark not telling his parents to pass, and they would have had that be an episode plot point. And I would have
That
hated
he was doing it on his own.
Yeah.
Which
that
is
would have
such a
bugged me.
thing. In any TV show, almost always, if you tell and like discuss your problem, it solves the problem, or it would have solved the problem, but they don't allow the characters to communicate. But in this case, it's bigger than that. And he's like, Mom and Dad, what do I do? And I love that the dad's like, you go see your friends, you do your stuff, you do normal things, because we're not going to let this change us.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to go talk to the guy. I'm going to do this. Don't you worry about it, Clark. You're just a kid. Go be a kid.
What a
At
dad.
least he tries.
What a dad.
And then he's like, I'm going to go meet him at the beanery.
I know.
A couple episodes ago, we talked about this. Daniel name dropped the supposed name of the coffee shop, which isn't.
I don't
then
know what
you
you're
were
talking
like,
about.
No, it's just a random coffee shop. Well, now we know it's the Smallville Beanery.
It's a random coffee shop.
Yeah, before Jonathan goes and talks to Phelan, though, later that night, Lex comes up to the barn, and it's like this ongoing joke of, I would have knocked, but there's no door.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
the second
okay.
episode in a row with something like that. And we get another foreshadowing phrase. Looks like you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders, Clark.
That's said a lot of times in the series.
know.
But essentially, Lex is going to give Clark a warning. This is a bad guy. He's going to do anything to get to his ends. And, like, what does he have on you? This just deepens the mystery of Clark.
It's a double-edged sword right now with Lex, because he is trying to protect Clark, but at the same time, he wants to know what Clark's secret is.
Yeah. Did you guys notice in this scene, Lex has a really red nostril? Like he has a cold and he's been wiping it too much.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that
But
at
also
all.
purple shirt.
Also purple shirt. Yeah.
So next, Jonathan goes to the beanery to confront Phelan. Smart to do it in a public place, but also not great if you're going to get really mad and assault someone.
Slam someone down on a table.
A bit tricky. Jonathan has a temper, but as a parent, would you guys have reached that point?
Yes.
Oh, I would have probably led with socking him in the face.
Just
Threatening
walked
my
in
kid.
and punched him?
I probably would have. You're a cop threatening my kid. What are you going to do? You going to come after me this way? We're going to play a game.
I hate this guy so bad.
He sucks.
So bad.
I will say, though, I am surprised that nobody up until this point has investigated Clark's regular appearances around crime scenes.
Right, because last episode he called and said, there was a giant explosion at this girl's greenhouse, come help.
Phelan here is telling Jonathan, well, you know your son's around crime scenes a lot. That's a
I could
problem.
easily connect him in the negative.
I'm surprised that nobody's really done that yet. Seen the connections. Typically, they're not really looking for that. Usually by then they've caught the baddie, and so they don't have to look further. So that must be part of why they wouldn't. But I would like to ask our cop friend if he would have noticed stuff like
If he
that.
always saw the same name popping up in a small town, like, what are they?
Yeah.
Why are they always here?
Phelan does a great job at making us hate him.
Yeah.
And I was kind of bummed out that he's the first person that really finds out about Clark. I was like, couldn't it have been like a loved one or someone he can trust?
Well, we know that Cassandra kind of did a few episodes ago in
Yeah, that's
Hourglass.
true.
She kind of knew about him.
But then
She
she
died
died.
5 seconds
Well,
later.
That tends to happen to people who find out of Clark's secret, doesn't it?
I don't know. Does it?
Phelan. Dun dun dun. In our next scene, we have Lana return from Principal Kwan's situation, coming back to tell Chloe what the status is of the newspaper. Chloe asks, when do we get to go to print? Lana responds very clearly, we can go tomorrow. So much excitement. Except for Lana is now in charge. And Chloe feels super betrayed and goes all emotional teenager and goes personal attacks on
I do
Clark
understand
and
it.
Lana. Oh, absolutely. But it goes personal attacks of, why do you have to steal this from me too?
This is the one thing
Lana.
Clark and I do together.
And then, of course, Clark, of course you would side with Lana. And
And then he's like, I gotta go. All of a sudden, I'm like, Clark, Chloe's one of your oldest friends right now. You've got to be there for her. Like, this sucks. He just clearly is being a dumb teenage
He's also
boy.
very distracted with, being blackmailed by
I
a cop.
know, I get it. There are bigger things going on, but it does irk me.
That's because you love Chloe and you're
Yes.
obsessed with Chloe.
I like Chloe a bit.
Okay. But her reaction's totally understandable to feel like something got taken away from you. And her tears are heartbreaking and so good. And the acting of Chloe, excellent.
just a little tease. There's something I just recently learned about Chloe's character on Smallville. I'll share it in a future podcast, but I'm going to keep teasing this. It's very interesting information about where the direction of Chloe's character was and how it changed.
Interesting.
So next, after the torch and the debacle with the teens, Lex and Victoria are getting closer.
And they're drinking sake from a bamboo bottle and pouring it into these glasses.
Oh, I remember. And Lex finds out why she's visiting.
Right. Ultimately, it's to betray Luthor Corp. They want to bring him in to their Hardwick company. I don't even know what it is. And eventually Lex is like, you know what? We could double the double cross and do it to both our dads.
Yep.
Let's cheers to that.
And don't you want to clink those glasses, Kim?
So bad. I didn't even know they were drinking sake out of a bamboo.
I think they're eating sushi, so
That's
it
so
makes
cute.
sense. And they're sitting on the floor.
They're
all
so
very Asian.
bougie.
It's such an Asian style meal.
Yeah.
I love it.
Wow, I'm glad you guys catch these little details. I would never have noticed what they were
I think-
drinking or what they were eating or that style. I'm like, no, I was focused very much on the conversation itself.
I think realistically they'd be at a fancy restaurant,
Yeah.
but budgeting, let's just keep them in the mansion.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Plus, he's Lex. I'll just order it all in.
True.
Bring the table too, guys.
There are the glasses. Clink.
And then we get back to Metropolis in the next scene, and
Because Clark has been manipulated and he's gone with Phelan to Metropolis.
Oh, you guys, I hate
help
him
him.
so bad.
I know.
I try to think what I would do in this situation, and I'm like, it's no different, but it's so terrible.
But Clark thinks he can outfox the cop.
Yes.
He thinks, oh, if I do this and I kind of get him caught, it'll stop him.
Which,
Yeah.
But it doesn't work.
the first time I
backfires.
saw it, I thought it was so incredibly intelligent of Clark.
Yes.
You immobilized his car. You left him with evidence.
You
and
threw
the
a
cops were
safe
there.
on his car with like rebar and stuff on
Yeah,
it.
you did the whole kit and caboodle. You know, when I watched it, I was very proud of the decision, and I did not see it turning out the way it does for him.
while we were watching this, I confused this episode with another episode where Clark has to deal with a safe. And I said, oh man, this is going to happen next. And Nicole's like, no, it's not. And I said, yeah, it is. No, it's not. And she was right.
Of course I was.
But there's another episode about a safe and Clark having to deal with it. But we'll get to that. That's a little teaser. It could be in like season 6. I don't rightly remember. But I guess we'll see.
I just wish that it had worked. Clark tried
Yeah.
to fix the situation. He thought, I can do this. I can make it work. But it doesn't.
And then in the morning when he comes down the stairs, he says, morning, guys, to his parents. Who says morning, guys, to your parents?
I would.
What?
I would.
What?
I would.
I mean, there's all sorts of things. Morning, guys. Morning.
Yeah, in my 30s, I would say that.
What would you say,
In
Daniel?
your 30s, when you're 15, did you call your parents, hey, guys?
Probably not.
Yeah, I think I called them guys.
Probably.
Hey, guys. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I call them parental figures, parental units.
Dad.
I called them mother and father.
No, it was always
did?
sarcasm that I would call them.
Did they
names.
make you or did you?
No, I called
choose?
them Mumsy and Dad.
But sadly, Clark is so full of hope. He probably had a great night's sleep, thinking he foiled the bad guy. And he says, oh, I think that guy's out of our lives for good, not to worry. And then, of course, right after he says that, there's a knock on their door, their back door.
Is this the first real, super purposeful, deceitful lie from Clark to his parents of the show?
That he just didn't tell them.
And we had the party stuff, but that was more of an omission thing.
Well, so's this.
No, but this is him saying, oh, everything's fine, nothing happened.
Well, because they ask him, has he tried to
Yeah, he
talk
said
to you? And
no.
says
This is like a straight up lie, not just
Yeah,
him
I'd say
forgetting
so.
to tell them or not telling them something. This might be the first
I
one
think
of the
this
show.
is probably the first lie, a big one. He thinks he has done it. He truly does. He thinks there's no way this guy can talk himself out of a safe on his car and the files in his hand. But Phelan is a tricky devil.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought the episode was over right here. I was like,
if
oh,
only
sweet.
it was.
Yeah. But it only begins here.
No, it sucks.
That's worse.
You guys, there is a dead body planted
in
the
their
barn.
barn. The police show up with a warrant and they say, we gotta search your barn, and they're all confused. And there's a
Dead body.
right there.
Then with a gun planted in his truck.
I know.
That's some impressive blackmail planning, I will say.
Seriously. And Jonathan gets arrested.
This is one of those things where I want to know from a real cop, like, would the cops say, well, yeah, we're arresting you right then and there? Or would they
I
say, we need to
think
bring you in for questioning?
that.
You know what exactly?
They'd have to do that.
That's what I would think.
I feel like for murder,
But they
it has
probably
to-
would put him in cuffs because of the dead body right there.
True.
But then again, Martha would also have to be taken in. And so would Clark.
Yeah,
Yes.
they would all be suspect.
All
Yes.
three would be put into a room and all three would be questioned.
Yeah,
And
this
instead, Jonathan's like, "Stay here, son.
Right.
We need you here."
Right.
tells him he needs to be strong by not
But
being strong.
You know what he says? He says, call Bill Ross.
Yes.
Meaning Pete's dad's a lawyer, I'm guessing.
Oh.
So
Do we
that's
ever-
fun.
That's a good
I don't
point.
know.
Okay.
But
You
And
find out
then
later. Yes, very much
Clark,
so.
in his anger, breaks the supporting beam by punching it. I get it. I understand, but not another thing for them to fix.
how much does it cost to fix a structural support beam in a house?
It's got to be worse than the generator. It's got to be worse than like the tires that were slashed. And
Another
maybe
expense.
Clark can just shove something in there and he can
Just duct
fix it.
taped in their
I don't
kitchen.
know, but man, that sucks. It just hurts my soul seeing all of this expense for the poor Kents.
I was just gonna say, then he gets a terrible visit from Phelan. Ah.
And he wants to kill him.
Yeah.
Which is Clark's first real, like, I could kill you.
Yeah,
and
like
I want
I'm
to kill you.
So angry that I want to kill you. Yeah. And that's scary with the power that he has. Yeah.
Yeah.
There were good special effects on Clark busting that beam. It was really well done.
It
Yeah.
was.
In the next bit, I really wish that Clark would be more comforting of Chloe. She needs it, and he's just not being the very good friend. And I get that there's other things going on, but you'd think he would still say something. Not just, I gotta go, bye.
Well, really, he's mostly talking to Lana in the torch as she's trying to fix the paper while it's falling apart kind of under her. So she's trying to help, but is feeling overwhelmed. Clark was trying to help, and now he's feeling super overwhelmed. And he's hiding out at the torch because people now know his dad's been arrested for murder. And luckily, Lana doesn't believe that his dad did it.
Yeah.
But because they're both essentially adopted, they can, like, talk about that. And Clark
Yeah.
asks, do you think you'd be better off if your aunt ever didn't
Yeah.
adopt you? And we get a little story from Lana, which is nice.
A connection. I put adoption guilt in my
Yeah.
notes.
I wonder if that's a thing.
Yeah, I know, right? I thought the
None
same
of us
thing.
are adopted. We should ask an adopted person.
Leave it in the comments if you're adopted.
Yeah,
and
tell us
come-
about if you have adoption guilt. We'll read it on air.
There should be a t-shirt that says, I gotta go, Clark Kent.
Oh my gosh.
We should have them
Seriously.
made. We'll wear them all one day.
Seriously.
Lame excuse, Clark Kent.
Yeah.
But after that little ditty in the torch, we got to go talk to Jonathan in the jail.
I love this. They have a heart-to-heart in an orange jumpsuit.
Yes.
Yeah, but I don't know if Jonathan would be in the slammer wearing orange already.
He wouldn't.
That seemed a
I had to
little...
accelerate things a little bit. But
Yeah.
there is a really impactful line that I just quoted. You cannot protect your mother and I by lying to us.
I
Come
literally
on.
wrote it down. I
Like-
literally wrote that down.
And I love the come on too,
Mm-hmm.
because he's like, we've taught you this, Clark. Lying does not help us. Which is so funny because they teach Clark to lie to everyone else. But to them, they're like, always honesty right here with us.
Oh my gosh.
Lie to
that's so
everyone
true.
else.
Yeah. Yes.
He confesses to his dad, like, I did go see him. He was at our house after they took you, and I wanted to kill him. And I wrote, if he was a Luther, he would have.
Yes. Ooh.
What do you guys think?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Jonathan says he's going to play on your fear and anger.
Yeah.
Because that's what manipulative people do.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
He's manipulating Clark and he wants him to be mad and he wants him to be scared. He's getting exactly everything he wants because he knows I've got Clark right where I want him. When the time comes, I'm going to whisk him away and we're going to do some crimes.
Do you guys have any personal experience with manipulative people that prey on your fear or anger?
Yes.
Okay, tell
That's
him.
all I'm saying.
Nope. Just, yep.
No
we
stories
get
yes.
it.
yet. Okay. I think we all have to some extent.
Does myself
Yeah.
count?
Are you manipulative to yourself?
Aren't we all a little bit?
I never thought about it.
Like, you talk to yourself, don't you? Like, you tell yourself. I had someone ask me once, if your best friend in the world were going through everything that you're going through and they told you, how would you talk to them?
Yes.
Would you be rude to them? Would you be mean to them? And I was like, oh, no. But we do.
We are harsh on ourselves. That is.
I never thought about it as being manipulative, though.
I think you can totally manipulate yourself. People definitely manipulate themselves into things all the time.
Because we justify our actions a lot.
Yeah, that's what
Yes.
justifying is. You're manipulating your own mind into accepting a truth you want to believe or something.
No wonder why I'm always feeling like I need to work out. I'm manipulating myself into feeling this.
Stop it right now.
Stop that. I don't need to work out. How dare you, self?
In
In the jail.
jail, they just do a little fist bump
Through the glass.
It's similar to what Barry Allen goes through with his dad, who's wrongfully locked away for a crime he didn't commit.
Is that the Fast Boy?
That's
Yes.
the Flash.
The Flash. Fast Boy. It's his new name, Fast Boy.
I love it.
Nicole has names for people. And then the next scene, I feel bad. Don't push Lex away, Clark.
Yeah, I feel like in this situation, I don't
Lex
always
would have
feel
been
this
really
way.
helpful.
Yes, so helpful.
But it's hard because you can't involve Lex because all of this is around your secret and your strength.
There's that
and stuff.
too.
So you can't tell him because Clark knows Lex is already questioning. So he can't involve him. But then again, this doesn't help. It makes it more questiony.
But I do think Lex understands why Clark is doing what he's doing. He seems to be like, you're being stupid and I get it, and I'm not going to hold this against you. He's a little bit more mature than Clark.
And he's like, I know how this works. You're going to need fancy lawyers to make this go away. I can get you in touch with them.
He says, "What's Phelan got on you?" He knows. The obsession deepens, I wrote. Because if Phelan, the dirty cop, is interested in Clark, Clark has something to offer.
Yes.
And Lex wants to know what the freak that is.
And Lex already suspects that there's something like that, so it just increases the mystery. But I have a question. Coming up here in this next scene, Phelan is now approaching Clark again
In the barn again.
with a new proposition. You're in this situation. What would you do?
You do it. You have no choice.
I thought a lot about this, and I don't have a good answer.
It's interesting because Phelan is now saying, I want you to steal something for me. I'm done being a cop,
I'm going to leave and, retire.
but I can make your dad's problem go away. And you're like, what is it that you can do to save my dad at this point?
Well,
like,
you made it happen, so you
Yeah.
could make it unhappen, essentially, by
You
having the
gotta
evidence
have-
that clears it.
Right. So I might try to do some little opposite poll and say, how are you going to reverse this, and see what information that is available there? I don't know.
Yeah.
Testing it as the waters as much as I could, probably.
Well, Clark decides to go with him. And as they're pulling out, you see the Kent Farm sign, which is so cute, I thought. And then Lex.
Lex knew, oh, this guy's going to show up.
Yeah,
He's
he
gonna
knows
take
the
Clark
games he
away.
plays.
Oh, he knows. So off they go to Metropolis with Lex quietly following.
Can I just pause for a second? They're on that lovely country road with nobody with a home for a long time. Can you really sneakily follow someone?
Well, he
out
didn't
of
turn on his
Smallville?
lights.
Yeah,
Still.
but there's like 2 cars on
Everyone
this road.
has a
But
Porsche
there's
these
one
days.
road to Metropolis. So all he has to do is turn on his lights eventually, and then, there's just one guy behind us.
Okay, fair enough.
So at Metropolis Museum, they turn off the cameras in the Luther Hall wing, and then Phelan calls in a bomb threat.
So I'm going to be honest. In this part of the episode, I was like, that's it. There's no good way that this ends.
Oh, really?
Like, I have no idea. This is horrible. And
So they get into the wing. There's a bomb threat. Lex luckily is right there, but I loved this. The bomb threat is called, but Lex does not think the threat's real. He is not scared of that at all. He pays his quarter, gets the box out, opens it up, and it's just a little clock. He knows Phelan's tricks. He knows Phelan's ways. He knows that's going to save the cops oodles of time by just debunking that it's a bomb, because they would have spent 3 hours dealing with that
Yes.
bomb.
I love
That's
that
so
all the
true.
rent-a-cops that are afraid of it are still standing super close.
But before this, I had to pause it. What do those cops look like?
I don't know.
Okay, so I want you just to watch this. We're going to see the cops. What do they look like? First thought.
Oh, like German cops.
Nazis. They look like Nazis.
Yeah, like, why are they dressed in, like, the gray and everything? Yeah.
With their hats and their... They look like
Their gold
Nazis.
buttons.
It was such a strange costume choice.
Yeah, from Sound of Music.
Crazy. I know.
Okay, does anyone else feel like this breastplate for Alexander the Great looks like it was made by a high school theater class?
It's hideous.
I know.
It looks like they used hot glue to make
It's
the
so
snake
bad.
on there.
I've
and
never-
They went to Dollar Tree to find the little gems to glue on top of there and use spray paint to spray paint a
But I
piece
love
of
that. And
cardboard.
Phelan thinks it's hideous too because he doesn't care about it. He just wants the jewels.
Yeah, $10 million.
Which honestly, in this day and age, wouldn't get you that far.
No.
You know, you're gonna have to do some more stealing later to make ends meet. But he says, we're gonna make a great team, implying, I'm not done with you yet, Clark. I said this was the last thing, but this is just the beginning.
Yeah. And then Clark finds a way to break free. they put the breastplate in the bag. And
Phelan does. Clark never touches it.
that's
You guys,
true.
I was obsessed with this. Like, I was like, oh, that's how. Okay, love.
Yeah, it's all going to be okay. Clark X-ray visions, sees the cops out there, grabs the bag, chucks it. It lands perfectly in front of him.
We'll never be a team.
Yep.
You're not bulletproof.
And then this part is crazy. When he shoots at Clark and you get the slow motion part, Clark
Goes one way and then the other.
I was so
Yes.
confused
I
by
was
that.
like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
A dance?
Kim was like, where are you looking? Oh, then he's going the other direction now.
It's for fun.
It's for fun that you're so fast you can dodge it both directions and be just fine.
But do you love like the little, what would you call that? It's not sound waves, is it? Is it sound waves? Air waves? Air,
Speed waves.
what do we call
It
it?
would be sound waves.
Is it sound? No.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Whatever waves
you're
are
like,
coming.
oh,
whatever's
he's moving
coming
back.
off the bullet, he puts his face in it. I love that. This is his first time with a bullet ever.
Yeah.
No one's ever shot at him before, I don't think.
Fun little effect to bring us right into the Superman awesomeness.
Yeah, it's so good.
He's faster than a speeding bullet.
I love that Phelan says, "What are you?"
Yes. Question. If he would have shot him, he's bulletproof, right? So he wouldn't
Clark
have
doesn't
had
know
to-
that though.
Yeah, he doesn't know he's bulletproof
So
yet.
he can put his hand in a wood chipper and nothing happens, but he's not sure if he's bulletproof.
Bullets probably seem to him
Scarier.
more intense than a wood chipper or something, or a
I'd
bus.
rather
more
die from a
violent.
bullet
Yeah.
than a wood chipper.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So once the shots are fired and they know the bomb threat's not real, the cops rush in. Lex rushes in. Phelan does get shot, and Lex runs up to him once the threat has been neutralized and says, "Come on, tell me Clark's secret. I got to know." But Phelan goes down like a true comic book villain slash.
Tells him where to go.
Yeah,
I love it.
The secret dies with Phelan,
Yep. And I'm so happy about
which
it.
is good.
It was the perfect ending.
And somehow, by some miracle, in some way, Jonathan is exonerated. It wasn't him at all. Barely an inconvenience. He's
Lex
home.
could have stepped in,
I guess.
I
How?
hope so.
called in some favors.
Or
guess.
maybe when Clark drove with Phelan, Phelan did his part.
Maybe. Oh,
Yeah, maybe.
maybe. That's I like that theory, but I don't want to give Phelan any credit.
Oh, that's
Serious. Yeah.
And Clark is so like panicked about all this that went down. He wants to stop using his gifts. I don't know how he would do that, but he attempts it in his sadness. And his parents say, "No, that's who you are. We're not going to be scared. We're just going to be more careful, okay?"
You are your gifts and nothing more, Clark.
So cute. But then we end the episode with Lana, boom, roasting the principal.
Which I point out for both Lana and Chloe here. This is my note. Clark gets friend zoned when he's not even there.
It's
They
so
both
true.
just friend zone him.
But Chloe's lying to herself and to Lana.
100%.
So I thought this was a little unique acting choice. Chloe is crying.
I know.
Like water eyes.
I know, because she loves Clark so much.
Yeah.
This is just the one thing Clark and I do together because we're just the best friends.
Yeah.
No, you're in love. Calm down, honey. Everybody can see it. Your eyeballs are giving you away.
Do you? Okay.
She's lying to herself and
Because
she
she's
knows
not
it.
she's not crying at all getting her job back. Nary a tear.
Yeah.
But she gets a little weepy talking about Clark.
I think that part of it is that she realizes that Clark doesn't feel for her. It's kind of her admitting out loud that there's nothing between us because it's all one way. And that really
Right.
makes her sad.
And that's the weird way this episode ends. Oh, we forgot.
The best
Lex.
ending.
The ending is not
Not
ends with
Lex.
the girls.
Sleeping
ends
with the
Lex.
girl.
That's oh gosh.
Oh, yes. I was going to say Lex's obsession with Clark's secret will be the reason the bad part of him wins the internal battle. And you can tell they're foreshadowing that.
Yeah, because he does have video evidence that wasn't supposed to be there, but is there, of the blur. A blurry blur.
Who
And
is
he
not the
knows,
speedy
but
guy.
he knows it was Clark.
So, songs in the episode. We got Step It Up by the Stereo MCs. That's about it. And and for the rating of this episode, I'm going to give this one a super. I think this is definitely a must-watch. I think there's some epic saves. We've got the bus. We've got
The bullets.
the bullet. We've got the fact that there's someone that knows about Clark's secret. You've got Lex getting closer. You've got an impact of his family. It's got higher stakes than just a typical episode of the week. Even though it ended pretty quick, I think there's more to it. Yes, so I would give this a super. Just the severity, the action, all the impact, every character, almost every character, I should say, has a real impact in this episode and is felt by some of the storyline.
I'd agree with that. I think this is one of the most exciting episodes so far of the show.
I have to say super, but it's not my favorite episode. I don't want to watch it again. I don't like that guy. I don't think it's very fun to watch. It's not memorable. This isn't an episode that you'd be like, you gotta watch this episode of Smallville, it slaps. Or whatever they say.
Yes. I feel like this episode made me feel dirty, and I don't like it. Phelan is the worst, and I hate his beady bug eyes.
He's dead now, so we don't have to worry about him.
Yeah. So I would agree. I would say super. I would say there's a lot of man in this episode. I mean, it is a filler episode, I think.
Still, yeah.
But I do feel like...
Not quite as much. There is...
I think we pushed the plot along a lot more in this episode than in the other filler episodes.
True.
And was Whitney in this one?
No.
No Whitney, no Pete.
Whitney, no Pete.
Sorry, babe. Did you have more thoughts on this one? Okay.
I was just going to say, well, thank you for listening. We are not above bribery, so please like our page. Listen to us. Like us, subscribe us, do all the things to us that we need.
But only if we say yes, though, okay? Because...
And on that terrible note, we should end.
Babe, I love it. Yes. Thank you for remembering Smallville with us. Check us out next time when...
We have our first double feature where...
Napoleon has a mom.
And Chloe's mouth gets minty.
Listen, we're mooching off of you. If you like, comment, and subscribe, we might make money, and it doesn't hurt you.